Attention, Ken Murfitt fan club. We have another racing game from him. You'll remember a while back I reviewed a 1986 typing game called Racer by Ken Murfitt. He was a teenager who submitted this rather superb typing to Amstrad computer user, who later went on to work in the games industry, coding on games like Swiv. And 750cc Grand Prix is a 1989 racing game from Ken. He'd already done twin-turbo V8 for Codemasters the previous year. The game was released on the Amstrad CPC and Sinclair Spectrum, no C64 version. So we're going to be at Silverstone, hit fire or space. And you can't select a track, you just start off at Silverstone, basically. 3, 2, 1. And off we go on our bike. And if you've played Twin Turbo V8, you're thinking, hey, this is Twin Turbo V8, something's happened. Fuel, tyres, fixed bike, exit. Right. Okay. I'm not quite sure there is a pit stop there. I didn't intend to pit, but I'm still racing. But hey, we're moving along. There's these big chunky graphics. Blocky, some people might say. In fact, I definitely would say blocky. That's not working, is it? No, right. Well, I'm going to leave that in because that's something that happens. My first go on the game. Let's try again. 3, 2, 1, go. And unusually, your bike has a turbo, which you activate with the fire button. And I'm sure that's nothing to do with the fact this is the twin turbo V8 engine. Now I'm skidding along the road on my bottom. This is ludicrously hard. The draw distance really isn't helping. There's a jolly bit of music going on in the background. Quite nice for a racing game to have that. Now, my entire effort is just spent trying to stay on the road. I am 8th, and I certainly need to be higher than that to qualify. There is no countdown timer though, so we just need to qualify. I'll overtake it. I'm 7th, 6th. Hooray! 6th. 7th again. Oh, I'm on the bum. I'm on 8th. I'm on my bum and 8th. Right, when I press fire, the light behind my bike lights up and I'm going faster. Meanwhile, over to the Spectrum. And slightly strangely, this game is dated 1991, whereas the Amstrad version is dated 1989. So, that seems odd. And just a quick note, depending on where you get this from, the game may look like this, and you'll think, this looks really weird, I'm playing in a small window. And the answer is that's because you haven't got the correct snapshot. It's one of those games that loads in part of the graphics as the loading screen, and therefore you've got to make sure your image has everything. So here we are, and we suddenly have handlebars and a miles per hour display, and RPM display, and so on. So on the Lyddon circuit, and it's completely silent. Whoa, does it tip? It tips. When you move, it tips. Fire stops the bike. It doesn't fire my turbo off. And we go into a kind of diagonal colour clash. Hell. Well, not colour clash. It's basically the Spectrum can't really do the diagonals and it all goes very jagged. So we are in 7th. This is not by Ken Murfitt. And even though we are this early, I'm going to wager that given the 2-year difference and the gaming difference, I'm going to say this was a completely separate game. They just used the 750cc inlay and stuff they already had done, title card. I'm impressed it tilts, but I'm not impressed I've got no audio. Pit lane in. And there we go. You hold down fire button on the icon to get what you need, tyres and fuel. We should only have 1 lap left. Unless this is some weird +2 problem, this game is mute. I've had to come out and go back in again just to check that it's not mute, but it definitely seems in my Spectrum it's mute. Yeah, it's a peculiar. Was there some noise there? Very faint. I don't know. I can't hear anything. I've turned the gain up all the way, and all I can hear is Z80 processor noises as it chugs away and hum. Right, so that's lap 2. Oh, I've got more laps, have I? I thought it was a 2-lap race. Perhaps it's just a 2-lap race on the CPC. And when you go certain positions on the screen, when you corner, your part of your bike disappears. It's not a lot of fun. I'm finding it bizarre why this exists. These are really blocky graphics for the CPC. But I'm liking the digital display at the bottom. It's really... Why is it so chunky? Because it doesn't need to be. Is it saving memory and double scaling the sprites? Right, here we go. So I'm pitting on the CPC on my last lap because I might need some fuel and tyres. A man comes over. I don't know if he's wearing trousers or not. He's doing things to my bike. Right, is that everything done? Right, keep going. Yeah, it's peculiar, this. I want to like it, but I'm not finding anything to like. It's nearly impossible to play because you can't... Oh, you just hit things and you can't see what's ahead of you. CPC has so many good racing games. This just feels like... There's something here. There's a kernel of something here. But it's not enough. Back on the Spectrum. Oh, it's quite smooth. As soon as you come back to the Specky, because of that tiny window, they've really got the roadside objects smoothly going past. Although that might also say something about how relatively jerky the Amstrad CPC version is. You came third, 6 points. I don't know if that qualifies me or not because I've activated a cheat. It's Mallory Park circuit. So we're going to have some Bay City rollers on an island and we're going to have fans being rescued by wombles. And Mallory Park is famously yellow. And we're back into the mute silent hell. I'm going to go online and check some videos of this because I need to just make sure if it is genuinely mute. And I'll put it on the screen because every version I've tried, just no audio. I'm barely visible now. My bike nearly completely disappeared. Yes, it's the random blocks in the road as well that you get. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's... For some reason, I don't hate it. There's just something... There's a kernel of something of, okay, lads, you've done an engine. Now let's put the game in. It's really hard to overtake. And the road is going blue up ahead because of the obvious problems. Back on the Amstrad, I'm still stuck on the first circuit. Actually, it's really jerky for a CPC racing game. It's Outrun. Outrun had this kind of jerkiness. And this kind of same amount of colour where a still graphic might look nice. So you're not qualified, tasks completed, facts completed 1. Yeah, that's about my 5th attempt on that. So I'm not getting off level 1 on the Amstrad because no one's bothered to do a crack for it to make it work because presumably no one wants to play it. Right, that's Mallory Park completed via cheating on the Spectrum. We're off to Thruxton next, 3-lap race. 3, 2, 1. And as is the way with these things, the other bikes all zoom off into the distance because that's how these things work. I'm trying to think of games that don't. Lotus doesn't do that, does it? You're kind of in a pack at the start. Burning Rubber on the GX4000 spreads you out a bit. Some of them zoom off, but some of them actually you zoom past and you can hit them and they crash into each other. But it is a trope of these things that, yeah, most of these games, everyone else just zooms off at the start. Oh, I'm bored. This is boring. And it's a shame, really, because there's not a lot of motorbike games. Not a lot of motorbike games that are good either. And yeah, this isn't one of them. 750cc Grand Prix. It promises much. It promises a rare motorcycle racing treat on your Spectrum and Amstrad at a budget price. And if you looked at the screenshots and looked at the package, you might think it delivers, but that's all Codemasters ever need to do. All they need to do is convince you in the newsagent that this game is going to contain all sorts of excitement, and you buy it, and that's it. And sadly, when you get home on the Amstrad, you find you've got a blocky, jerky mess. On the Spectrum, you've got a jagged attribute problem mess. There's actually, in both cases, something here. There's something that, with a few more weeks coding and a little bit of help, they could have got hold of and improved into something that wouldn't be groundbreaking, but actually might be fun to play. Neither of these versions is fun to play, and that's an enormous shame, because it's a rare opportunity, as I say, to have done a budget from behind motorcycle racer.